And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you for that. If you're checking us out later, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have audio and video versions there for you to check out, and appreciate it if you do so. But don't forget, if you don't want to go to our website, you can come look at these shows on Facebook throughout the day. It keeps it live or a video version, non-live video version, available throughout the day and actually well into the future. I'm not entirely sure if they ever do delete them, so you can always go back and view old shows as well. Getting into your traffic this morning, I-12 is flowing with some minor on-ramp delays. Some minor delays at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190. And a little bit of delay on 64 heading into Central, but not too bad. So it's actually a pretty easy day for your commute, although it is a little overcast. We will get into the weather here in just a second. But of course, still no school today. We will get an announcement about whether or not they will return on Wednesday. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But a pretty good commute for you this morning. Good morning, Mr. JT. Thank you for joining us. It's currently 78 degrees, kind of a warm morning, even though it is overcast. 90 degrees, your high today. 76, your overnight low. Looking at a 50% chance of rain starting at 11 a.m. Didn't quite get those late night showers that we had expected last night. Some people may have gotten a little drizzle here and there, but wasn't too bad. Of course, we'll talk about Marco here in just a second. But again, a 50% chance of rain starting at about 11 a.m. with some of those remnants of Marco. It is still a very large low-pressure storm, so you still might get some rain today. And, of course, we'll be talking about Laura in a second. But let's talk about Marco. Marco kind of pulled a Barry on us. He ran into a lot of shear, a lot of dry air as he moved north through the Gulf and got close to the Louisiana coast. It ate up a lot of that moisture, just like what happened with Barry, except in this time, kind of a little bit more of an extreme example. Not nearly as much rain as we had expected. And then, of course, Marco took a huge turn to the left or to the west and is now hovering over the coast. They don't expect him to intensify or the storm to intensify anymore, but there will be some bands coming through the area and we will get some rain today. At least it's expected that we'll get some rain. All eyes have now turned to Laura, which is now pulling into the Gulf. It is better organized than Marco and is expected to stay better organized than Marco and graduate to a hurricane sometime early this morning. As of the 4 a.m. update, it had become more organized, and they were expecting by 10 a.m. that it would be a hurricane. Now, because Marco hit a lot of that shear, ate up a lot of that dry air, if no more comes in, they're saying that there's a very good possibility that Laura could intensify to a Category 3, possibly even a Category 4 storm. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on Laura. Going to be moving through the Gulf all day today. Expected to make some kind of landfall on Wednesday. Now, the current path takes the eye wall nearest to Lake Charles. Now, we all know, having lived here, usually the eastern side of the eye wall is the one that gets a lot of that rain as it pulls through. So we are going to be keeping our fingers crossed that it does move away from us, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's still a lot of time left. Still a large cone of uncertainty. Even 48 hours out, you can see 70 miles in either direction of uncertainty. So it's going to be interesting to see what the developments look like over the next 24 hours, of course, looking for a landfall sometime late Wednesday. LSU will return to class today after canceling yesterday, and this is the beginning of their fall semester, so we're going to be keeping an eye on them to see how much success they have with that. However, Livingston Parish Public Schools remain out of school today, and we will learn later this afternoon into this evening when they will go back to school, potentially tomorrow. Could be potentially later in the week. A lot of that is going to depend on the 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. updates on what will probably be at that point Hurricane Laura, depending on that path and what is the best recommendation for the schools. We'll learn about that this afternoon. Yesterday, there was a pretty contentious City of Dem Springs council meeting. There was a group of stakeholders that included Healing Place Church, as well as Empower 225, and Mr. Barber, who is the CEO of H&E Equipment in Baton Rouge. They were looking to get a variance on building a home for foster children that were pushed out of the system for one reason or another. In a lot of cases, these kids might not even, or these young men might not have even made it into the system. They were going to call it an anchor house. There is an anchor house in Baton Rouge already, but the variance was too large for the council to really get on board. There are 3 lots on Capitol Street that had been commercial for many years after the flood and were rezoned last summer to residential. Seeing the opportunity, this group of stakeholders came and decided they wanted to build a facility here. It would have been about an 8,000 square foot facility that would have held anywhere from 10 to 12 people, which would have been about 8 young men, 15 to 21, who, again, had been pushed out of the foster care system for one reason or another. And, of course, administration that would have lived on site. This would have been right next door to Randazzo's on Capitol Street. Now, local residents were not only concerned about the large variance, so we're talking a 5-acre site is what is required by law for a facility like this, and they wanted to push it down to 0.6 acres, which is about the size of those lots altogether. That was a concern, especially with a lot of boys on site, not a whole lot of room to run and roam. There was concerns there. Also concerns about the type of kids that were going to be there and what kind of security was going to be available, especially brought up by the Randazzo family, who own the restaurant right next door and sometimes have to leave at night and sometimes have younger ladies leaving at night as waitresses. There was, of course, concern, as we all have concerns these days, on the drainage. You're looking at an 8,000 square foot facility roughly that was going to need about 4.5 feet of dirt underneath it to meet current, I guess you can say FEMA/NFIP/City of Denham Springs requirements. So that was going to displace a lot of water. One of the things that the folks from Randazzo said is, if you push water into our building or onto our building, what are you going to do for us? Of course, the homes next door would have even more difficulty, as at least Randazzo's is raised off the ground. So the city council, in the end, just couldn't. The whole idea of a 90% variance, or 5 acres down to basically half an acre, just did not jive well with them. They denied it 4-0. There were mutters that the stakeholder group will come back with the idea, maybe with a different location for it. They had chosen that location because of its central situation, I guess you can say, within Denham Springs, close to Healing Place Church, which of course is a stakeholder, as well as close to most places where they could work and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes back up again. But for now, it is denied, and those lots will remain empty. Getting into your COVID-19 statistics real quick, 143,566 cases, 4,623 deaths, 1,772,481 tests. 118,120 have recovered. 939 are hospitalized on 152 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 3,279 cases, 62 deaths on 31,404 tests. We were expecting a phase 2 announcement today, although he did not. Okay, let me back up. We're expecting a phase 2 announcement from Governor John Bel Edwards sometime today, although we did not hear him mention it during his late night, or not necessarily late night, evening press conference yesterday on Monday. This is his usual MO. He will talk about the extension on Tuesday and make some kind of announcement as to whether or not it will expire or continue beginning on Friday. Of course, Friday being the 28th, that is when the most recent phase 2 extension of COVID-19 mitigation efforts would expire. So we have had a pretty good trend over the last 5 or 6 days. Of course, we're looking for a 2-week trend here in terms of hospitalizations, ventilators, and new cases declining. Right now, hospitalizations are moving in the right direction, as are ventilators. New cases looking pretty good as well. So a good sign, maybe a potential for a partial phase 3, maybe phase 3 all the way. We'll find out hopefully today. We're not entirely sure why we didn't hear anything about it yesterday. Usually if he does have a Monday press conference, he says we'll learn tomorrow. Because of the Hurricane Marco and Laura situation, it may be put out as a press release, and then he'll mention or talk about it later on in the evening at 6 p.m. I think a lot of that's going to depend as well on what's going on with Laura and how it looks in terms of growing into a hurricane and how potentially large it can get. But do expect some sort of announcement today on what's going to happen with this most recent Phase 2 extension, which is set to expire on Friday. Getting into your mitigation efforts real quick, wear a mask in public. It is a mandate. Wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. Control your cough or sneezing with an elbow or a tissue, preferably your own elbow. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. And stay home if you're sick, and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor. Getting back into your traffic real quick, I-12 is flowing with some minor on-ramp delays. Minor delays at 4H Club Road, River Road, and 190. 64 heading into Central, rolling pretty clear. And no school traffic today because we're still out. Remember, we will get an announcement probably after the 4 p.m. update on Laura, considering what's going to happen with that storm. Livingston Parish Public Schools will make an announcement whether or not they will return to school tomorrow. It's currently 78 degrees, kind of a warm morning, even though it's overcast. 90 degrees, your high today. 76, your overnight low. 50% chance of rain starting at 11 a.m. Very much a potential for it to start raining and rain a lot. Hopefully, as we still get some of that remnant of Marco, but hopefully rain moving out so we can get prepared for Laura as she barrels northward after entering the Gulf. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Want to remind you folks that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We are also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have a podcast page, which is free, a breaking news page, which includes national news and state news, as well as arrests, and those are all free. And we have a coronavirus page, which is free. So we appreciate you checking that out. We also have an app. If you want to download that, we have push notifications, so you can kind of decide what you want to read and what you don't want to. But of course, that's always the best way to get the information from our website because it's coming direct to your phone, and you don't have to worry about the Facebook algorithm. Again, do appreciate you guys joining us this morning. Lots of announcements today about school, Phase 2, and Laura. So please keep an eye either on our Facebook page or our website because we're going to be rolling those out as soon as we get them, and we will be talking more about them tomorrow morning. Have a great day.